Welcome, everyone. I want to welcome you to the 41st Annual General Meeting of the ADR Institute of Canada. My name is Scott Siemens, and I've had the pleasure of serving you as your president and the president of the ADR Institute of Canada in this past, what I think has been a very fast-moving and highly paced year. I declare this meeting properly constituted, with quorum being met by those present and by proxy. And given that all the information has been distributed with respect to agenda and minutes and that kind of thing, I'd like to ask for a motion to approve the agenda as presented. Thank you. Violet? Yeah. Thank you. Can I have a second, please? Wael? Thank you. All in favor of the motion to approve the agenda? Opposed, same sign. That motion's carried. Thank you. We also have the minutes on the table, the minutes of the 40th Annual General Meeting that was held last year in Montreal. Could I have a motion to approve the minutes as presented? Anne? And a second? Mike? Mike Lund? Okay. Anyone, all in favor of the motion to approve the minutes? Anyone opposed? Thank you, that motion's carried. All right. Well, that was fun. Let's get on to some good stuff. I want to begin by starting out my President's report by thanking my executive, a wonderful and dedicated group of people that put in countless hours, tireless efforts to do the work that this body, your body, does throughout the year in between annual general meetings, and I want to thank them for that. I want to thank the 2014-15 Board of Directors, some of whom are continuing on, some of whom are stepping down and moving on to different things. But each of them, to each of you, I really want to express my appreciation and the appreciation of this assembled body and, of course, all our members that aren't here. This is a group of people that works hard. And lastly, I want to thank our staff. And you will see them. We have one up here, and there are many out there. And we'll have an opportunity to kind of give them some formal thanks. But to Janet and her team and all the folks that work in the office in Toronto, thank you so much for everything you do. This institute, this body, this cultural agenda that we have to transform and to disturb social norms across the country doesn't happen without the likes of you folks, so thank you for that. We're so pleased to be in Alberta for this important and exciting conference and the 41st annual meeting. We're grateful to our host affiliate, the ADR Institute of Alberta, and I know Stan is here, and I know Paul are here, and Tammy and others. Thank you for all of your work. To the regional hosting committee that put so much time and energy into this. In fact, some of these people are here. Paul, I saw you somewhere. Would you stand? Paul, Tammy, are you in the room here? Tammy, stand, please. Roy McPhail, J.B. Isaacs, Don and Tegan Shapiro, are you folks here? Thank you. This conference, this event wouldn't have happened without these people, so I really appreciate your work. As president, I'd like to share just a couple of things, some updates on what we've accomplished in this past year, maybe a little bit of where we're going, and to give you a little bit of a State of the Union, a statement of accountability in terms of what we've done on your behalf. I want to start with the strategic plan. We set that out in 2012-13 and refined it again in 2014, and they're doing more work on that here in 2015. But one of the things that comes with that is our brand new strategic framework. And some of this stuff you'll see up on the slides as we go. Pay more attention to the screen than to me because that's more worth looking at. We want to inform you of our agenda, where we want to go on your behalf. We're forming brand new and we believe very strategic alliances. We're now a founding member of the Canadian Association of Peace and Conflict Studies, a group of academic institutions that are working at the PhD level to research what's happening in the world, and particularly in the Canadian context, what's happening in the world of conflict studies and peace initiatives. The Dispute Resolution Board Foundation, and they're actually going to be holding a session here, we're excited about that, is one of our new strategic alliances. The ADR Canada and the ICCA Task Force, we are hoping we're going to pull together a real coup in either 2020 or 2022 in terms of hosting a joint conference there. New relationship with Arbitration Place, with ICC Canada and ICC Switzerland. We're in discussions with the Association for International Arbitration and, of course, all of our corporate members. And our corporate members, those of you that are here by virtue of your relationship with them, we want to extend our thanks to you as well. We are on the cusp of launching a brand new corporate membership package with we believe, significantly enhanced benefits, more interaction, and more defined and intentional connection with our regional affiliates. And so stay tuned for that. That will be coming very shortly. And of course, our kind of premier relationship globally is with the International Mediation Institute. Now, you may know that the ADR Institute of Canada and IMI, the International Mediation Institute, that ADR Canada is a qualified application provider, and members of ADR Canada's CMED designation are automatically qualified for IMI certification and just need to go through that application process. IMI has begun a very unique and I think fascinating series of global conferences. If Teddy Bedio, where are you, Teddy? Somewhere. He was in this room. There he is. Terry, would you stand up, please? Teddy's the person you want to talk to if you want to have influence on what mediation looks like globally. Teddy is going to be our point person in terms of establishing the Global Pound Conference that we'll be holding in conjunction with our 2016 Toronto conference at the Ritz-Carlton. Thank you, Teddy. This is a place where mediators, these global conferences, where mediators from around the world, stakeholders, and all the people involved in that process are going to be coming together to give shape to what that looks like globally. And ADR Canada, through Teddy's efforts and the efforts of staff, has been designated as one of only 2 North American venues for that conference, and that's going to be happening in Toronto next year. So if you think Calgary is a good place to be, Toronto is going to be even better. Not because it's Toronto, of course, but because we're going to have this global influence there. My apologies to all you Toronto people. I just don't understand that place. Calgary, I get. I'm from Western Canada. This is home to me. Anyway, talk to Teddy and any of the other board members or staff and begin thinking about how you might impact mediation globally. This is going to be a once-in-a-generation event. Under our strategic plan, we're going to continue to progress in the following initiatives. And so this is a little bit of a look forward and my statement of accountability to you. The President's Roundtable, comprised of presidents of each of the affiliates and myself as the president of ADRIC, and our ED, Janet Mackay. This group has quickly become an incredibly important forum for all of us to engage at a peer level. Led by ADR Atlantic's Andy Butt, the President set an agenda and prioritized items at each meeting, with some of the larger affiliates also requesting their EDs to be there for operational issues. And then the Presidents bring up all kinds of topics that are of interest to each affiliate or might be of interest to the pan-Canadian approach. It's an incredible forum to be part of, to learn and exchange best practices, to hear what's working well in Quebec and why they're being so successful on this agenda, or what's happening in Alberta and why their QMed portfolio has just taken off, and all of those kinds of things. What an invigorating place to be. That group met last night, and we actually sat around for a couple of hours under the direction of David Gould, and we cast vision. And you'll hear more about that tomorrow afternoon. We cast vision for what ADRIC across Canada might look like in 5 years or 10 years. And it was really an inspiring place to be. One of the things that's recently come out of that President's Roundtable is the MOU task force. These memorandums of understanding that exist between the affiliates like Manitoba, Saskatchewan, BC, and ADR Canada are now 30 years old and actually seemingly quite irrelevant. And so we've struck a task force to begin working at thinking through and looking at what that relationship looks like between the affiliate and the national and between affiliates. And so we're quite excited about the work that's happening there. Similarly, we're looking forward to the creation of a corporate roundtable to try and bring some of that same synergy to the representation of our corporate members. And that forum, we hope, can lead to sharing of best practices, supporting the needs and goals of our very important corporate members, and to further advocate ADR. Our corporate members include law firms, ADR firms, governmental agencies, nonprofits, educational institutions. We just believe that there's a place there for those people to speak into how ADR Canada is giving shape to our work and our industry across the country. Another exciting thing, this last December, we launched the new ADR Canada arbitration rules. They are the longest standing Canadian arbitration rules, and we're so pleased and so proud of what they have to offer to our members and the Canadian user community. So you can ask, well, what's the big deal about these rules? Well, let me tell you. These rules are available at no cost, so that's a big plus, and they can be used in every manner of business and commercial contract, domestic and international. They've got a model clause with the right language for all Canadian jurisdictions. It can be simply copy and pasted into contracts. We feel this is an important and valuable service to our Canadian business, community, users, and members. Please take a moment to have a look at our video, which answers some of the questions about why these rules are important and practical. It's in the, what is that room? The Lake Louise room?
Yes.
The Lake Louise room. Going on, and then take a look at that video. My sincere thanks to Dave McCutcheon for his time and effort in the video. If you want to see someone who's Hollywood ready, it's David right there. He's right there. He's ready to go. And also to Olivier Dupré for agreeing to be interviewed and filmed for the French version of the video. Thank you, Olivier. ADRIC arbitration rules is the option to use ADRIC's case administration services. ADRIC's ad hoc rules administration process review team, whose task it was to ensure ADRIC provides the highest level of service, recently engaged a company called Client Insight. And Jerry Dirksen, are you here? I thought conducted a satisfaction survey among ADRIC's admin services, among users of ADRIC's admin services. With their permission, Jerry interviewed a number of arbitrators and various parties to administration and counsel. We received a credible amount of very positive feedback on how to improve even further, but we're absolutely the person that really gives leadership to that is Mina Sestito. And Mina, she was out there. Is Mina in the room here now? No, she isn't. Janet's texting them to come in and receive the accolades that we want to give them. Maybe I'll catch Mina when she steps into the room. Mina was just so highly regarded in the work that she did in the Institute, but also into this incredible role she plays. Of course, Mina couldn't do all of that work in terms of case administration without the support of her incredible team of colleagues. Brenda Lesperance. Brenda, by the way, isn't here. If you had the opportunity to communicate with her, you will know what an incredible professional she is, how she cares about her members. Privately, she tells me that she thinks Saskatchewan is like her best affiliate. Ann Wallace knows this, as do others from Saskatchewan, but that's just between us and Brenda. So Brenda does that work. Brenda isn't here. She's back home in Toronto holding down the fort, and so we want to thank her for that. But the rest of the team, Morgan Horst, Monit Sahota, Barbara Gilbert, and of course our executive director, Janet Mackay. I really wanted them to all be in here because I wanted to thank them, and they're not here, so we may have to have a staff meeting about that, Janet. In absentia, we'll thank them when they come in. Janet, on behalf of the work you do and for the rest of the team, thank you. One of our most popular and I think important services that ADR Canada provides is the list of specially qualified arbitrators and mediators for cases around the country. So you might ask yourself the question, well, how does Mina find all these incredible practitioners to provide case services in her administration portfolio? Well, she does that through ADRIC's ADR Connect. And this is why it's so essential to ensure that your profile, if you're a member, you're on ADR Connect, ensure that your profile is complete and up to date. If you haven't been called upon for some case work, some case services, well, maybe it's because you haven't done your homework on your profile. I'll leave that up to you to decide. But here's what I can tell you, that in November, this November, which is like 4 days away, if your profile is not complete, we will be hiding it from public view. One of the things we've been hearing from our consumer community, from the people that use our services, is that it's a real source of frustration to go through these profiles, to be looking for something and not able to find it. And so in hearing from our user community, from our clients, your clients, we want to make sure that that service is as professional and presentable as possible. So please go to your profile and do the work, make sure it's updated, make sure it has your shiny smiling face on it and all of those kinds of things and everything you want it to be. If you do that, you can touch base with Morgan Horst and he'll give you one of our brand new member pins. These are sharp little items, so you'll definitely want one of those. You might have noticed that ADRIC's activity on social media has been expanded, and Barbara and others are really responsible for that. Dave McCutcheon's provided us some connections in that regard. We're delighted with the connections we continue to make and have the increased interaction we're enjoying. If you haven't connected yet via social media, you might want to do that. We've seen some tweets about some of our new designation holders. I think there's a whole list. Yeah, we've got some brand new, no, those are committees. There are some designation holders up there. There we go. There's some designation holders. If you're in the room, congratulations for you on achieving a new designation. This is stuff that's been happening in social media, so this is a really cool thing for us to be doing. So that's my president's report. Maybe we'll catch the staff when they come in later, and when that happens, please join me in thanking them. I do want to turn it over to Jeffrey Smith now, our treasurer. I'd like to introduce Jeffrey as the treasurer of ADRIC and the chair of our finance committee. Jeffrey Smith has served ADR Canada as its treasurer since 2006. He's also served as ADRIO's treasurer for a period of time before that. Jeffrey's a financial advisory services partner with BDO Canada. He's practiced exclusively in the field of investigative and forensic accounting all the way back to 1991. His assignments have been across a broad range of industries, Canada and across the U.S. Interestingly, he's one of the first chartered accountants in Canada to be designated as a specialist in investigative and forensic accounting, thus permitted to use the CAIFA designation. Jeffrey oversees our finances. Not only is he qualified, and for the past 10 years has selflessly taken time out of his incredibly busy schedule to ensure that we're on track, Jeffrey does so with a smile, and Jeffrey brings a certain panache, I would say, to the work of our board. Jeffrey is a Smith, and the Smiths are a wonderful and kind and generous people, I'm told. We have a wonderful time with Jeffrey around our board table, and he truly brings joy and expertise to our group. And Jeffrey, I want to thank you for that. Jeffrey's retiring from the board this year, and so I publicly want to thank you, Jeffrey, for your work, for everything you've done, and for everything you will continue to do as an advocate and a friend and an associate of ADR Canada. So, Jeffrey, thank you. Okay. Jeffrey, please.
Thanks, Scott. Well, I was going to start by saying my name is Jeffrey Smith, but that's no longer appropriate. But I have had the pleasure of serving as your treasurer again this year, and it truly was a great pleasure. I very much have enjoyed the role, and I'm very happy to say that I will be succeeded by somebody who's going to be excellent in this role. So I have the pleasure of telling you that ADRIC remains very financially strong. It's in a very sound financial position. Each of you should have received a copy of ADRIC's audited 2014 financial statements with the notice of the annual general meeting. I suspect you have all read them in detail. The statements show that ADRIC incurred a modest deficit in 2014 that was easily covered by its cash reserves. That deficit had been budgeted and came as no surprise to us. And I can say with complete confidence that I know that deficit will not be repeated in the current year. So we have nothing to be concerned about. Our statements were audited by Nominating Winter. May I have a motion for the approval of ADRIC's fiscal 2014 financial statements? Jim McCartney, and seconded by Glenn Bell. Any opposed? Hearing none, I will declare the statements approved. I have one final item of business, and I'd like to ask for the motion of the appointment of Nominating Winter, LLP, as ADRIC's auditors for the 2015 year.
Tom Smith?
Tom? Chuck Smith?
Tom Smith and Chuck Smith. Oh.
Seconded by Michael Ertl. Any opposed? Then I will declare Nominating Winter our auditors for 2015. Thank you very much.
Don't sit down, Jeffrey. Don't sit down. Come back.
Did you want me to explain Toronto to you?
Well, I know you've tried before.
It works like the solar system.
That's the part I don't get. So Toronto really is the center of the universe.
That's correct.
Now I understand. Well, this makes this next part really awkward, Jeffrey. I have here a certificate that I'm really contemplating on not giving to you. No, Jeffrey. When I joined the board, you were one of those people that took me in and explained the ways of life in Toronto to me, so thank you for that. For all the work you've done, not just at the affiliate level, but at the national level as well, for everything you've done on behalf of the board, we want to say thank you. And please accept this as a small token of our appreciation for all your work.
Thank you, Scott, and thank you all the members. I've truly enjoyed it.
I want to get a picture. Just move over here. And here's a trick I'm teaching everybody right now. I'm your photographer doing headshots over there. But when you clap when someone's getting an award, they smile again. So here, well,
And now I want to direct your attention to the back of the room. We have some wonderful people back there. I was talking to you about the work that Mina does. Mina Sestito, would you raise your hand? Mina's back there. Beside her is Morgan Horst. Beside Morgan is Barbara Gilbert. And somewhere back there, running around doing all kinds of things, keeping this place running, is Monit Sahota. If you have the opportunity, yes, please, for Monit. If you have the opportunity, please extend your hand of thanks and appreciation to these people. They truly are the heart and soul of the organization that get the work done. So thank you. All right. So now that we've had the riveting financial statement and the explanation of the center of the universe, let's go on to a couple of other things. Jeffrey, it really is helpful when you help me understand those things. I want to take a couple of minutes to recognize some of the other really incredible people and volunteers that put their time into the work of ADR Canada, without whom not just this event, but the work couldn't have happened. Our committees and their chairs, who work so exceptionally hard to move ADRIC forward. Please join me in acknowledging the following volunteers for their dedication to the Institute. Several of them couldn't be here. I want to recognize Angus Gunn as the chair of the Rules Committee, Bill Horton for his work as editor-in-chief of the Canadian Arbitration and Mediation Journal, and Randy Bundas, who chaired our insurance committee this year and did an incredible job of negotiating some really fantastic E&O packages for our members. By the way, is Joanne here? Joanne
Yes,
Reed?
she is.
So outside there, maybe she's one of those. Talk to Joanne about some of your insurance needs. Marsh does a great job for us, and we really want to express our appreciation to them. So join me in thanking those committee chairs that couldn't be here. Now, I believe the following committee chairs are here. Gary Furlong. I'm going to ask these committee chairs to stand. So if I call your name and recognize you, would you please stand and just remain standing? I'm going to go through this list, and then we want to thank these people collectively at the end. Gary Furlong, chair of our CMED, QMED standards, and of course our CMED National Audit and Appeal Committee. Thanks, Gary, for your work. Anne Grant, who's recently stepped down from her position as co-editor of the ADR Perspectives newsletter. Thank you. Brian Duguid, who continues to lead this incredible publication. Brian, you're here? I think these people are here. There we are, Brian, so thank you. Thank you, Brian, and for all of those who do that work. Appreciate it. And for now, those others that we believe are in the room, and these happen to be committee chairs that are also board members. And again, we're going to ask you to stand. And board members, by the way, we have a token of appreciation for you at that registration desk. If you go and check in with Morgan, a little way of saying thank you for the extra work you do over and above your board work. I can't emphasize enough how critical these people have been to the work of ADRIC in this past year. Many of these directors serve as chairs of multiple committees or maybe serve on other committees. Michael Erdl, would you please stand? Michael's the chair of our technology committee. Michael and committee have been so incredibly busy this year, working to identify some of our best technology movements as we go forward. Chuck Smith, chair of our HR committee. Along with Andy Butt, Chuck has been busy with our ED, creating some incredible structure and policy work for our staff. Ann Wallace, chair of our national course committee. National introductory courses in mediation and arbitration were launched this year after an incredibly long and sometimes arduous journey. ADR Saskatchewan, ADR Atlantic had the privilege of launching them this year, and ADR Alberta, of course, has been working through that process for many years. Jim Musgrave, who prefers no recognition, but is the most deserving. He does nothing halfway. I'm so fortunate to have him on the board and as my personal mentor. Jim's the chair of our Bylaw and Governance Committee, Nominations, and Roster Development Committee. The Roster Development Committee, of course, is tasked with marketing you and your services to our user community. To Dave McCutcheon, the chair of our National Conference Committee. Certainly, this event wouldn't have happened without Dave's role. And Andy Butt, the chair of our President's Roundtable. Thank you to each of you. Jim, you need to stay standing. All of you, stay standing. I want you all standing up here. Thank you to each of you for the incredible work you do, not only as a member of the board, but also as chairing your committee and the tasks you do. Please join me in thanking them. And as I said, for those of you committee chairs, there's a little thank you for you back at the table that Morgan has. Now there's one committee, and this is the one we've all been waiting for. This is the big deal, folks. Here we go. There's one committee I haven't mentioned, one that works so hard and has such a Herculean task that we have to have co-chairs. Not because either of these two committee chairs couldn't do it on their own, but there's so much work that they want to make sure all the pain gets spread around, or at least that's how I hear it described. Jim McCartney and Bill Hartnett, would you stand? These two gentlemen, each is completely dedicated to ADRIC. Bill, over here from the very beginning, in fact, he founded the CFDR, which merged to become, with AMIC, to become ADRIC. Jim, who's been a part of ADRIC for so many years and chairs the CARB and QARB Standards Committee and the Ad Hoc Rules Administration Process Review. These two men chair our Membership and Marketing Committee. Without their work, without their leadership, so much of what we're about to experience in this coming year and even today wouldn't have taken place. Gentlemen, thank you. The work of the Membership and Marketing Committee, or the M&M group as they're referred to, has been so intense and varied, they've had to create subcommittees to help deal with all of their initiatives, from designations and corporate membership and arbitration rules promotion to advertising and promotional documents. But perhaps the most prominent achievement this year is ADRIC's new branding. Now, you might recall during last year's AGM, we made reference to the fact that we're working towards an improved ADRIC brand and tagline that'll better promote our organization to its members. For a full, intense year, Jim and Bill and all of their millions of minions and helpers, and it actually felt like millions. There was a ton of people scurrying about doing all kinds of stuff. For a full year, they've been dedicated to this project, and we are absolutely thrilled to launch it today. Please turn your attention to the screen. I gotta tell you, Barbara and Janet have been just bursting, waiting for these balloons to drop. This has been so exciting. One other really cool thing, I want you to take your name badge now. If you take your name badge, you'll see that it has the ADRIC logo, which of course is now, a dinosaur. Take that little piece of paper out, turn it upside down, and there's the new logo. What a crafty bunch of staff we have. Anyway, thank you, Janet. Thank you, team. Thank you, Bill and Jim, and all of the people that work on that branding and marketing initiative. We trust, we hope that this new initiative will help you in your work, either as a general member, as a practitioner, as a corporate partner, whatever your place is with us. We trust and hope that this will, in fact, assist you in that regard. Next on the agenda is a report from our chair, the past president of ADR Canada and the chair of our nominating committee. I'm going to ask Jim Musgrave to come forward.
Thank you, Mr. President, and good morning, everyone. So when Neil Young finished recording his segment to We Are the World, the technician said to him, "You sound kind of flat, Mr. Young." And he said, "Yeah, that's my style, man." So now I'm going to read my report. According to ADRIC's bylaws, the board of directors shall be comprised of one member in good standing from each regional affiliate, as elected by the members in good standing who are members of that regional affiliate and ratified by its board. The same number of corporate reps as elected by sustaining corporate members in good standing and ratified by the board, and up to 4 directors appointed by the directors then in office. I am pleased to announce the 7 regional affiliate directors for 2015 and 16 elected by their regions. Please stand when I call your name. Glenn Bell, BC. Chuck Smith, Alberta. Scott Siemens, Toronto.
I'm sorry, I just can't stand for that.
Saskatchewan, I meant. Jennifer Schultz. I don't think Jennifer's here. She'll be here tomorrow. Michael Erdl from Ontario. Terry Berriot from IMAC in Quebec. Thank you. And Andy Butt from Atlantic, covering all 4 Atlantic provinces. So the process to elect the 7 corporate reps to the board is as follows. Sustaining corporate members are polled for nominations to the board from their organization, and each corporate member then votes to elect up to 7 individuals so that there's parity between the 7 regional affiliates and the 7 corporate members on the board. And in that way, we are a federation. This year, 7 individuals were nominated, so I am pleased to announce that we are welcoming the following corporate board members for 2015 and 16, which are elected by acclamation. Please stand when I call your name. Naeem Alexander Andak from Gowlings in Montreal. Stephen Antle from Borden Ladner Gervais in Vancouver. I saw Stephen. Oh, okay. Laura Bruno from the Bruno Group in Ottawa. Mary Comeau. I don't know if I saw Mary here. Is Mary here? She's with Norton Rose Fulbright here in Calgary. Bill Hartnett from Imperial Oil, based in Calgary. Jim Musgrave from Cox and Palmer in Halifax. And Michael Schaffler from Denton's Toronto. Is Michael here? Very good. I would ask all of the board members that I've mentioned, the 7 regional affiliate members on the board and the 7 corporate members, to stand again, please. And I would ask for a round of applause for our incoming board. Now, I mentioned at the top of my report that there are 4 board members that would be appointed by the board. Those vacancies will be filled at a board meeting that will be held here in Calgary following the conference. So thank you very much. That's my report, and I'll yield the floor back to our president.
Thank you, Jim. So before I draw my report to a conclusion, and this should stand, this is your cue to, we'll be calling on you shortly. So before I draw my report to close, I want to thank 4 board members that are retiring, that are stepping down for their work. Jeffrey, again, thank you for the work that you've done with us. Departing from us are Randy Bundas. Randy, another good Saskatchewan boy, comes from just across the lake from where my cottage is. Gotta love that. He's a corporate representative from the Insurance Bureau of Canada and has served on the board since 2003 and is past president from 2008 to 2012. Randy couldn't be here from his office in Toronto. Also, Louise Novinger-Grant, who is a corporate rep with Burnett, Duckworth, and Palmer. Louise, I don't think Louise could be here today. She's been with us since 2009. And Derek Lloyd. Derek, who makes every engagement so much more enjoyable than it would be without him. Derek is a corporate representative of Denton's. He's stepped down, and of course that's why we've invited Denton's to submit a new person to us, and that is Michael. Derek served on the board since 2007, and I know Derek was tied up today, so couldn't be here. I think they plan on popping in various times. But in their absence, and of course here with Jeffrey, I want to express my appreciation for the work they've done as they've mentored me and brought so many new board members on the team and have propagated the work of ADR Canada. So thank you.